Greetings! Welcome to the video guide by IRZ Online. This video tutorial will provide instruction on configuration of iON Pro navigation terminal by the configurator application. You can find information on drivers and configurator installation on our website. In the Support section, Documentation tab, subsection iON Pro, Installation Guide. This guide will provide a step-by-step instruction on drivers and configurator installation. After configurator installation, launch it using the shortcut. iON Pro Configurator is an application in which all the control elements has been grouped by tasks. In the top right corner, IMEI of the connected device is displayed. Two sections below, Settings and Diagnostic. In Settings section, we can set parameters required for the navigational terminal's calibration. In Diagnostics section, we can see current settings and data transmitted by the device according to these settings. When connecting the terminal to the computer and running the configuration manager, the connected device configurations are automatically set in the application. To record the settings specified in the configurator, click Install. Save to File button allows to save these settings into the file to be saved on your computer. Load from File button allows to load a setting program which is stored in the file on your computer. Let's go over Settings mode and its tabs functions. Tab information contains various items for the navigation terminal configuration. Here we can see the following data: IMEI and model of the device, device board version, current firmware operational version, base firmware version, firmware update version and SIM card's identification numbers. The device is supposed to have two versions of firmware installed: base firmware and firmware update. Base firmware is installed during the device's production. Firmware update is installed from the server. In case of some problems with the new firmware, the terminal can be switched to base firmware. Tab Server is used for setting connection with tracking system servers. Up to 4 servers can be specified. It is required to secure the data transition. In case of server connection loss, the terminal can connect to one of the additional servers. Each setting needs IP address or server DNS name and port to be specified. It will be used to transmit the data between the terminal and the server. Next, select Data Transmission Protocol. Tab GSM is used for SIM card configuration in the device. Here we can set an algorithm of GSM antennas functioning, as is to say, configure the terminal for working exclusively from external or internal antenna, or set it to automatic mode. In automatic mode, the terminal will be using primarily for external antennas and will switch to internal with poor network conditions. Terminal supports 2 SIM cards. Section SIM card operating algorithm is used for configuration of interaction with them. Terminal can operate only with SIM card number 1 or 2, with other SIM card disabled, or to operate with 2 SIM cards, but SIM card 1 or 2 set as the main one. In this case, terminal will operate with the main SIM and other SIM card is enabled in case of no connection on the main SIM card. Sections SIM settings 1 and 2 are used for the first and second SIM card configuration respectively. Automatic mode checkbox enables and disables SIM card automatic operational mode, automatic APN configuration, SIM login and password. If the box is unchecked, all of these parameters have to be set manually. PIN code input can also be configured, enabled or disabled. If set to disabled, SIM card does not request PIN code. If set to enabled, SIM card requests PIN code. The code is entered in the field PIN code. Tab Track is used for configuration of track data transmission. Here, the GPS antenna operating algorithm can be set: external, internal or automatic. Automatic mode works in a similar way with the GSM antennas. Also, here you can configure track checkpoint generation mode. There are 2 track point saving modes: adaptive and timed. In adaptive mode, data transmitted not only over time change, but when other devices' data changes as well. In timed mode, terminal will be transmitting track points data only over set periods of time. The Reset to Defaults button returns the default settings in this section. Tab RealTime is used for specifying parameters of sensors and other external devices transmitted in real time. Configuration of input data transmission drastically affects SIM card's traffic consumption. The settings are grouped by interface types. User can specify the interval of points transmission in sections from the GPS, GLONASS and LBS systems in the real-time points group generation. There are certain parameters that can be set for the real-time points. You can set inputs that will transmit data, set which temperature sensor will transmit which data over RS485 interface. Below that you can set CAN bus parameters. The Reset to Defaults button returns the default settings in this section. Tab Power Saving is used to set the parameters of power saving modes. For the user terminal, 3 power saving modes are available: Power Saving Mode, Mode 1, Sleep Mode, Mode 2, Deep Sleep Mode, Mode 3. To set power saving modes, the following parameters are used. Enabling and disabling the power saving mode is done by checking the box. The threshold value for vehicle onboard network is external supply voltage, below which the device switches to power saving mode. Threshold value for battery voltage switch, battery supply voltage value, below which the device switches to power saving mode. Switch to power saving mode is also possible by multipurpose input event. In this parameter, you have to select a multipurpose input number for generating an event for switching into a power saving mode. In the field below, you must set value for multipurpose input controlled level. The switch to power saving mode will be performed on that level. The switch can be made to either low or high level. The device can go to power saving mode if no movement was detected for a set period of time. In this case, however, threshold value settings have a priority. For instance, if parking time is set to 60 minutes, but one of the values has exceeded the threshold, then the device will switch to power saving mode. The settings are also relevant for first and second modes. In the third mode, we can only set a threshold value for battery voltage switch. The settings can be reset to default by pressing the respective button at the top of the tab. Tab Inputs is used for configuration of device multipurpose inputs. The iON navigation user terminal is provided with 6 multipurpose inputs. For configuration, the following operation modes are available: Frequency, input signal frequency modifying mode; Pulse, input pulse counter mode; Analog, input voltage measurement mode; Logic, input level detection mode high, 1 or low, 0. Data saving time sets input data retention time. Logic 1 and Logic 0 level is a value at which the pulse state relates to Logic 1 or 0. Also, here the maximum input frequency can be set. If necessary, a user can enable input pull-up. Let's configure the first multipurpose input as ignition on. Set the operation mode to Logic, data saving time to 60 seconds. Let's configure the second multipurpose input as analog temperature sensor. Set the operation mode to analog, data saving time to 60 seconds. Let's configure the third multipurpose input as frequency fuel level sensor, for example C-Answer AF107. Data saving time to 60 seconds. Press Install to set the parameters. Parameters have been set, now the device will reread the configuration. Tab CAN is used to set CAN bus parameters. For interface configuration, the following parameters are available: CAN bus data rate setting, CAN bus message format, CAN bus data saving time, which is time before CAN bus will start retaining data. Below you can select CAN bus parameters to save. To enable disable data acquisition by mentioned parameters, select or clear the appropriate checkbox. The Reset to Defaults button returns the default settings in this section. Tab RS485 is used to set the bus rate, as well as various parameters of connected sensors. In this tab you can configure operation speed of buses and their operation modes. In the sensor scanning mode we can configure required sensors. To do that, choose sensor type, specify time interval for sensor data saving, specify sensor network address and interface number connected to the sensor. As an example, let's configure CAN log, which is connected to the terminal by the RS485 interface. CAN log is connected to the second connector, so we set second connector speed to 9600 and second connector operation mode CAN log P145 or CAN log RZ online, depending on controller type. Now we can access additional settings in the paired CAN log tab. Press Install button to set the settings to the terminal. The settings have been saved. Go to the CAN log tab. In this tab we can set the data saving time as well as choose data type to be saved. Let's review the data transferred via CAN log. To check the data transmitted by sensor, go to Diagnostics section, tab RS485. Here we can see fuel level and temperature value. To check CAN log data, open CAN log tab. All the accessible data is marked with a green icon. Let's configure data transmission on fuel level and engine RPM parameters. Return to the settings, select fuel level and engine RPM, as well as set data saving time in seconds. Press Install and our settings are saved. Tab One Wire is used to set sensor parameters connected to the One Wire interface. To configure the temperature sensor, first we have to search port to which we have sensor connected to. Click Port Search. Now the device has found a sensor, which is connected to the first port. We can see sensor's ID number here. To enable data transmission to the server, copy this number and paste it to the ID box of the respective sensor. Choose the sensor type, port number it is connected to and set data saving time. Press Install, OK, the settings have been saved. Move over to the Diagnostics section, One Wire tab. Here we can see that the temperature sensor is connected by the first port, as well as sensor number and temperature value transmitted to the server. Let's return to the Settings section. In Voice Communication tab, you can set operation of voice communication in the driver's cabin. Select a ringtone, configure automatic pickup, input and output numbers, enter phone number if needed, configure microphone and speaker. Tab Security is used for setting access level, setting and device password changing. The device is provided with 3 access levels of protection. No protection means all settings are available without password request. Server settings means security password is requested when changing server settings in tab Server. Complete security means that password is requested at any settings changed. If you choose options 2 or 3, then you have to set the access password below. To set the password you need to enter current password, enter a new password, then enter it one more time in field confirmation, then click Apply. Tab Service is used to send service commands to the terminal. Here you can enter a command or send terminal one of the pre-configured commands. Reset settings to default. All of the device's setting will be set to default, factory settings. Also you can delete records from device. There is also a function for sending all data from flash card to a server. To use it, insert flash memory card with data into PC. Click Data from Flash and confirm sending data to a server. Then they will be automatically uploaded to a server if internet connection is present. Using the next function will allow you to update firmware on the device. In order to do it, click Select Firmware and select Firmware file on computer. Let's take a look at tabs at Diagnostics section. In the GPS GLONASS tab, we see 2 blocks, GPS GLONASS Diagnostics and GSM Diagnostics. In these blocks we can see the settings from the respective tabs of the Settings section, as well as data transmitted by the device at the moment. This tab indicates that the device detects satellites and connection to the server is established. Inputs tab displays voltage of power and battery, as well as state of outputs. RS485 tab displays info on the sensor connected by RS485 interface and the value. One Wire tab displays the connected sensor and the value of temperature it measured. CAN tab displays a set of parameters. The color of icon in the column indicates whether parameter is available for transmitting to server. Green color available, gray unavailable, red data is obsolete. CAN log tab displays set of parameters and parameter status. Green icon, parameter is available for transmitting to server, gray, unavailable. For more detailed information on the Web IRZ Online tracking system, visit irzonline.com or contact the manager of the sales department. Thank you for your attention.